Okay, first things first, 20 minutes of trailers. Seriously. You're killing me here. I know I've been away for a little while, I apologize, I've been very busy lately, but I did see Gravity and Machete Kills. I promise I'm trying to get those reviews out to you as soon as possible, but today I thought I'd share with you my thoughts on The Counselor, which I just saw recently, like today, like a few hours ago, so while it was still fresh in my mind and it's opening this weekend, why not? When I first saw the trailer for The Counselor, it looked cool and intense. It was easily one of my most anticipated movies of the fall, I'd say. I wasn't like supremely excited for it, but it looked awesome. And this was a surprise, like, for this type of genre, the crime thriller, coming from Ridley Scott, who I've seen do more epic scaled sci-fi or, things like Gladiator. This seems like something that'd be more up his brother's alley, Tony Scott. So yeah, that was kind of cool. However, as I got closer to the movie's release date, of course I was still excited to see it, but there was the other side of me, the more cynical side of me that comes out every now and again when I get excited for a movie, and it's like, this could be not that great. So that half of me was kind of thinking this would be more style over substance, and, I was kind of fine with that. I didn't expect it to be much more than what it was going for. I would have been fine with it being yet another drug trafficking gone wrong crime thriller. I just wanted it to be done well. Unfortunately, that isn't the case here, but I'll get into the positives first before I dig into the negatives. First off, you have a killer cast in this movie. You have Michael Fassbender in the lead, who previously worked with Ridley Scott on Prometheus. So, they got a little relationship going there, and he's a solid actor, one of the best actors working today. I always am interested in whatever projects he's doing, including 12 Years a Slave, which I really hope to see soon. So yeah, seeing him in his badass crime thriller, awesome. And I'll tell you right now, he was fantastic in the movie. There's one scene that was pretty emotional, and he nailed it. It was like, damn, I felt it. He is truly one of the greatest actors working right now. You also have Penelope Cruz in there, who is just gorgeous and also a really, really good actress. I haven't seen much of her recent work, really not much of her films in general, but she's always great to look at, and she's a great actress. She actually had a smaller part here, and I kind of wish for her role in the movie, being Michael Fassbender's love interest, that she would have a bigger part in the movie, and I was a little disappointed in that. I think she was a little underused. Now I have to mention Cameron Diaz, who is probably one of the more memorable characters of this movie. She is an actress that I honestly really don't care much about. I'm not really into her as an actress. I don't really seek out any of her films. I don't really think she's anything that special, but she kind of surprised me here. She embraced a different side, just her look in the movie, and the way she comes off kind of stone cold, and just kind of bizarre. She nailed it. She's actually kind of scary in this movie. She went for something different, and I think she did a pretty good job. You also have Javier Bardem, or Javier Bardem, however you want to say it, with his numerous bad haircuts, and this one doesn't disappoint. But he is a phenomenal actor as well, and again, knocks it out of the park in this movie. And Brad Pitt, wow. I was disappointed with World War Z earlier this year. You can see my review for that. But wow, he, again, of course, one of the greatest actors, one of the greatest, or biggest stars of this past, 15, 20 years now. He's been in movies earlier than that even, but huge actor, and it's kind of cool to see him, again, reuniting with Scott in this movie, and he did a terrific job, of course, as expected. It's Brad Pitt, but I found his role just really interesting. Just again, his look. Everybody's look in this movie stands out, but his in particular. I wasn't really a big fan of his haircut in World War Z, but here it's a little longer, a little darker. It works. I have to say, he just pulled it off. I just thought he was badass, and it was cool seeing him in this movie. Of course, when you have a master like Ridley Scott directing, he's directed some of the greatest films of all time. He's kind of fell off a little in this past decade. I did enjoy Prometheus. A lot of people didn't. Well, some people did. So, yeah, again, seeing him direct this kind of movie was interesting. And, yeah, the directing was solid in this movie. That was nowhere near a problem. And, I wouldn't mind him doing more movies like this. I just think he needed better material. But he did a great job with what he was given. I have to mention the cinematography, which was really good in this movie. The cinematography was amazing. It has that bleak, gritty look, which really fits a crime thriller. I like those kind of movies, and it's done well here. It looks visually stunning. There's a lot of great shots in the movie. It feels slick. The movie definitely gets points for style. And the action. The action's actually pretty well filmed. I was surprised. There's a lot of more smooth and still shots in this movie. None of it's... There's no shaky cam, I don't think. Absolutely no shaky cam in this movie, which... Thank God. Really, all the problems in this movie boil down to the script by Cormac McCarthy, who wrote the novels that such movies as No Country for Old Men were based off of. That's all that comes to my mind right now, but No Country for Old Men was certainly one of them, also starring Javier Bardem. The script is just... There wasn't much of a story like I was worried about when I saw the trailer. There's just not much there. It doesn't really amount to much. There's a bunch of scenes that just go nowhere. Like, the whole plot is just kind of disjointed or scattered. It didn't feel like it gelled together that well. And it was a little hard to follow in some spots. And what really stood out to me was that some dialogue and some moments of the movie just felt pretentious. It just felt like the movie was trying to be more... Like, the movie thought it was more clever or smart than it really was. There were two lines that stood out to me, like, immediately when I saw them. I can't recall them, unfortunately. But it's like one of those scenes where there's two characters that are talking, there's a serious conversation going on, and then the scene ends, or it's about to end, and the one protagonist, it's usually the protagonist, gets up and is about to leave, and the other character says something to him that's kind of like an advice thing, or it's some philosophical, phrase. It's like, really? I mean, like, I could totally see through it, and I didn't buy into it. And great as the actors were, this movie has such an awesome collection of high talent actors. I really wanted this movie to just make great use of them. I mean, you have a cool, admittedly tired premise, but an awesome premise regardless, and such a great cast. Unfortunately, they're still all amazing in the movie. The acting is phenomenal, but I didn't really find myself attached to any of the characters in the movie. Unfortunately, it was nah. There are touches of this movie that are actually good. Nothing about this movie screams, oh, it's such a bad movie. Like, you never think to yourself at one point, like, this is such a waste of time. It is a little slow and a little boring at times, but it's just, there are some cool moments in this movie, some moments that are really well done. It's just, unfortunately, watching the movie, I kept going, like, back and forth. It's like, am I in for something good or am I in for something not so great? Like, I kept kind of going back and forth, and it just kind of felt mixed. Ultimately, this is something we've seen done many times before and better. This movie just kind of feels like surface level. It doesn't really do much to distinguish itself. Although the use of a Garrett wire in this movie twice, it was pretty cool and something different to see in this kind of movie. There's actually a surprising death at one point. It was just purely because of the actor involved and the graphic nature of it. It's kind of cool and surprising, and it's not really a spoiler, I don't think, that at least somebody dies in this movie. So anyway, you'll know when it comes. Interestingly enough, 5 people walked out of this movie. So that could be a sign. I was a little surprised because there was like a group of 3 that walked out kind of relatively early in the movie. It was like, really? You're not even going to give it much of a chance? I always sit through and watch the entire movie. I'm not going to bail out. There's been times where I've really wanted to. Trust me. Die Hard 5 from this year. But I never do it. So, and this movie I didn't quite understand. The drama that comes late in the movie is emotional and dark, and it's kind of powerful. Unfortunately, it's not as effective because it's just not as deserved or earned. The Counselor is a misfire. It's a disappointment. I was really looking forward to it. But I would still say if you were interested in seeing it, I still recommend it. I still recommend seeing it because, like, again, like, it may be different for everybody. Some people may actually really like it. It's not a clearly thumbs down movie, so I would say still see it, but you wouldn't punish yourself by waiting till Netflix or DVD, so it's not a must-see in the theater, but I think if you were interested in it, it's still worth seeing. It's too messy to be considered a good film, in my opinion, but I will grant it's fair. So that was my review of The Counselor. I hope you enjoyed a new video for the first time in a couple weeks or whatever, it's been a while, isn't it? But, you know, thank you for continuing to watch. Hope you enjoyed it, and I do plan to get back on with more reviews, so thanks, guys.